You're listening to the Morning Uplift, the podcast that brings you motivation and encouragement to begin your week. I'm your host, Liz Colburn. Grab your coffee, begin getting ready for your day, and join me as we discuss what it means to find the beauty in your journey. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Morning Uplift. Today's topic is about the roles we have in life. I want you to think this morning about all the roles you play in life. I was told once that we should only have 6 roles. So if you just racked your brain and you thought of more roles than 6 in your life, then that might be the first step today, is trying to find every single role you have and limiting it down to only 6. That's sometimes hard for some of us. I know I was that person. When I first did that activity, listing all my roles, I had an entire notebook page filled with roles, and that person who was leading the conference I was at said, whoa, if you have more than 6, are you actually being effective in your roles? So I'm going to try to have you think about 6 roles that you play in life, limiting it just down to 6. For me, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a coach, I'm a host, I'm a friend, and above all, I am Christian. So I also try to lead with integrity in all of those other roles that I have in my life. And like most people, I feel so divided in many directions. And I feel like if I give really strongly in one area, I feel like another slacks. And no one likes feeling torn. If you're like me and you feel torn in your roles, you are not alone. And I think when you limit it down to 6 roles, they seem manageable. 6 seems manageable, but we also know that in each role that we do play in life, there seems to be a list of things that fit under each role. So for example, I'm a wife, but my husband's starting a new network. So as a wife, I'm trying to help him behind the scenes. There's a lot of hours of prep work. I'm helping him in his studio. I'm trying to be a good wife and help with the cleaning and the cooking at our own house. And my husband and I moved this past weekend with Beckham, and we picked up and we moved from our 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment just across the street, actually, but we moved into a bigger townhome. And with our move, I'm trying to be a good wife with that. As a mom, my son is a newborn. So as you can imagine, he's very dependent on me. And so under the role of a mom, I also have a lot of things going on with that. If you follow my personal Facebook page, I have been struggling a little bit with some postpartum depression. And that's something I'm working through, but it's something I'm aware of and something I'm talking about, and I'm bringing it to the light. Also, as a mom, there's tons of mommy groups, and that gets overwhelming. It's like, is it worth it to go? Which ones are worth going to? Which ones are not being effective? Another role of mine is being a health and fitness coach, which is super fulfilling because I get to help others, but I also have to make sure that a lot of the other roles in my life are in the right place so that I can help other people. And so that means that the other roles just need to line up so that I'm able to do that effectively. And thinking back to my profession before I was a health and fitness coach, my full-time profession was a teacher. So if you're a working professional, I totally understand you. You bring things home. You're overworked sometimes, on the weekends when you're off. Sometimes there's work that comes home with that. So under the role of your career, sometimes we have a ton of things that are weighing us down with that. As a friend, if that's one of your roles, you have so many different friend groups and associations that you have from church or from work or from college or, neighbors and things like that. And then for me as a host, that was a role last week that just had to be put on the back burner. So as you saw, I did not have an episode of the Morning Uplift last week because as I'm sorting through all these roles that I play in my life, I had to make a decision last week that being a host of this show although I apologize that I missed. Just had to be something I put on the back burner last week with everything going on. But it was really great because I came in with an open mind. I was really reflective about my roles, and I realized in taking a week off that if I'm struggling with finding the balance, I can't be the only one in life that's struggling with the same thing. How do we fit all of these different roles and all these things that go under each role into our life, managing them, finding some sort of balance? And I realized that I can't be the only person struggling with this. So I hope that gives you a little insight. And today I want to talk about managing our personal roles. And I want to give you some ways that I'm really thinking about this and ways that I'm digging into this personally to help show up and feel more balanced each day. So I'm going to go through my roles, and I know these are not everybody's roles, but I'm hoping you can think through yours in a way to give you a lens of how you can find more balance in yours. So as a mom, I'm realizing that all those things go under being a mom, but I'm realizing that there's no such thing as a normal day for a mom. There's going to be things that I need to let go. And I have to realize that within being a mom, a huge job is feeding and caring for Beckham. And I need to think more about him than I do myself. I can't be the only one, but I know I get selfish sometimes. And frankly, by the time my husband gets home at the end of his day, sometimes I just want to be held. I'm holding my infant who I love all day long, and sometimes I'm just ready to be the one being held. And I just have to be gentle and know I'm not super mom, and people don't expect me to be. So a lot of this kind of role, being a parent is taking some of those pressures off and really sinking into the quality time that we get together and those learning moments when they happen. My role as a friend, there's so many things that fit under this role, but things I'm learning as I'm reflecting on this is that my time with friends is super intentional these days. When I can slip away to do something with a friend, or when a friend comes over to join me in our home, that time is super intentional. And with this role, I had a ton of friends, but I had to realize which friends are my negative friends, which friends are my positive friends, and who do I want to invest this time in. I can't be friends with everyone. You can't be friends with everyone. We can be social, we can enjoy other people, we can talk on social media, but when it comes down to actual, real, quality friendships, you want that quality versus that quantity. And something I heard last night on one of my calls was you want to surround yourself with people whose energy and mindset match yours. And that really resonated with me because I think that that's so true. I think I get really exhausted when I spend, too much quality time with people who suck that energy out, and how much more intentional my time has gotten when I'm spending time with that same group of people, that energy and mindset match my own. So that's something that you can think about. Think about your friend groups and think about that time. And if you're feeling like you need to dig into that more, maybe it's just figuring out which friendships need that more intentional time. For me, my next role is a coach. And no matter if, whatever your profession is, if you're working full time or you're working out of your home, a lot of it is just setting aside intentional hours in my calendar. For me, working at home as a stay-at-home mom, nap time has been so perfect. I can allow myself grace if it gets messy, and I'm still helping other people feel empowered and relating to those people with busy and not so put together lives like mine. And when I can be transparent, I realize that can be even more helpful in my life, to know that I'm on this journey with other people and we can help each other become healthier and become happier versions of ourselves. As a wife, if you're married or if you're with a significant other, understanding how they like to be loved will save you from, not loving them the wrong way, I guess. And then also just making sure you're digging deep into how they want to be appreciated. I know for my husband, he really loves that physical touch. So hugs and kisses and cuddles. And he also loves acts of service. So when I will do stuff for him, like spending time helping at his studio or having dinner made for him, he really enjoys that. And I know my husband is not into some other love languages like gifts. So I don't want to be spending, part of my day shopping for something that to give him if that's not filling his cup. So knowing his love language has helped us in that area. And the biggest thing in reflecting this past week on my roles is just communication. Communicating with each other on where we're struggling and what I need help with from him has been so freeing. So I have all these different roles and I'm reflecting on mine, and I want you to reflect on yours because I'm running through these roles and I'm running through what's working for me and how I'm reflecting. But this is only my life. And I'm sure you have areas in your life that you feel torn about as well. So right now, I just want you to take a couple seconds and think about an area in your life, a role that you play that you feel has been lacking. And you can write that role down if you have a piece of paper in front of you, or just think about it. What role in your life has been lacking lately? Might be a role that you just haven't had as much time for, one that hasn't been as intentional, one that has been something that you're struggling with, but you've put it on the back burner. And then once you have that role decided, the one that's lacking, I want you to write down 3 ways you're going to lean into that more this week. Go ahead and write 3 ways you're going to lean into that more this week. So I'm going to give you some time to think about that or write that down, but think about those roles I was telling you I had, and roles that I have in my life and things I'm using. Maybe you can think of other ideas as well. But think about 3 ways you're going to really be intentional about leaning into that more this week. And once that's done, I want you to think about which area or which role you are rocking right now. The one that you feel like you are doing the best and you feel really good about it. And I want you to say this: I really am being an amazing blank. And you're going to fill in that blank with what role you're really rocking right now. All right, say it out loud with me. I really am being an amazing, and then fill in that blank with what you're rocking. We really need to give ourselves some more credit than what we do and be proud of what you're rocking. And if you have something that you need to work on, which we all do, be okay with writing down those 3 ways and just sticking to those this week and figuring out how you can be more intentional in that. So we all have different roles, and we really will never have complete balance in our life. But what we can do is we can reassess each of those areas regularly to focus in on the ones that need more work and which ones we're doing well. We can be gentle on ourselves and just know that none of us are going to be completely balanced, and you're only one person, and all of us can always improve. Each week isn't going to be easy, but we can reflect and be the best in our roles that we possibly can be. Thank you so much for joining me this week for the Morning Uplift. I've been your host, Liz Colburn. I hope you join me again next Monday at 6 o'clock a.m. Central, live on Spreaker.com. Go over to Facebook and like the Morning Uplift. If you missed a show, go ahead and check it out on demand at Spreaker.com or subscribe on iTunes. Contact me at lizcolburnbb@gmail.com. I would love to hear which roles you're rocking and which roles you want to lean into more this week. Next week, we'll have our guest speaker for our motivational mantra series. Her name is Riley, and she's going to be coming at us about compassion fatigue. Sounds interesting to me, and I hope you can join us. Thank you for spending your morning growing with me. God's blessings on an amazing, purpose-filled week. See you next time as we continue finding the beauty in your journey.